And we are going to call to order the Elk Creek Fire Protection District monthly board meeting.
Recording in progress.
October 24th. Thank you all for being here. And if you would, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. And as we started this year, at the suggestion of the firefighters here at Elk Creek, we are going to read a list of our fallen firefighters in this last month. You just want to step up and thank you for volunteering to do this.
Absolutely. I'm in place of Bethany tonight, everybody, and I'm not as articulate as her, so bear with me. We'll give a moment of silence. We've had 128 total line of duty deaths this year, 17 since the last board meeting. Steen Larson, occupational cancer. Jason Gold, complications from lung damage incurred while rescuing a victim from a building. Their mask was knocked off. Brian Cayono, occupational cancer. Matthew Fair Jr., medical emergency. Elizabeth Cook, PTS-related illness, suicide. Timothy Hall, medical emergency. Cale Bodie, responding to a structure fire during Hurricane Helen when a tree fell on the cab of their fire apparatus. Chad Satcher, responding to a structure fire during Hurricane Helen when a tree fell on the cab of their fire apparatus. Both were pronounced dead on the scene. Leon Davis, a tree fell on the cab of his fire department pickup truck while he was leaving the scene of a downed power line. Tony Ray Garrison, he was assisting in the rescue of victims of a landslide during the response to Hurricane Helen when a second landslide occurred. He died from the injuries sustained in the incident. Troy Bernhard, occupational cancer. Shane Gage, unknown. Michael P. Lynch, occupational cancer. Charles Freeman, medical emergency. Ken Larson, occupational cancer. Michael Clark, medical emergency. Scott Glass, head injuries sustained on the scene of the structure fire. And then Andrew Coldway died following a medical condition related to a brief illness.
Procedurally, I should have asked everybody to please stand and remove your hats. And let us enjoy just a moment of silence as we recognize the lives of those fallen heroes. Thank you all very much. Thank you for stepping in. All right, our next item on the agenda is roll call of board members. I see all of our board members are here. And that will lead us to the addition and deletion and approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda as presented? Additions or deletions? Additions or deletions? All right. We will accept it as
written.
What's that?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, make a motion and a second.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
All right. That leads us right into our sixth item, and that is, would you be able to grab the list for the public comment for me? Into our public comment period. I remind everybody that each individual has an opportunity for 3 minutes. We won't exceed 10 individuals so that we can continue the business of the board meeting. And we only have 4 individuals. Mr. Whitehead, would you like to start us off, please?
Just a reminder, it's 3 minutes and I'll give you a minute. Just really cut this.
Watch it.
Neil Whitehead III, and I've been a resident of Elk Creek Fire Protection District since 1998. The proposed unification of the 3 fire districts is democracy denied. Some in this country think democracy is important to protect or to save, not this board before us tonight. Less than 1 year ago on Election Day in November 2023, the voters of Elk Creek rejected consolidation, which is unification by another name. Do not move forwards without obtaining the permission of the voters of Elk Creek Fire Protection District. You will be contested in district court and then, if needed, in the appellate and the Colorado Supreme Courts. This will waste more and more taxpayer dollars. Next question: if unification is successful, will property taxes be lowered on property tax bills as reflected in the 2025 tax bills? If not, why not? And the next questions for hearings scheduled for November the 21st. Who will preside over the hearing? Will this be a listening only on the part of the board, or will there be a response to questions of the protesters? Will the protesters be allowed to protest orally? If so, for how long per person? Is the format of the hearing prescribed in some manual, or is it made up for the purposes of this meeting only? Will the written protest be placed in the case record of the hearing or unification file and be part of the material transmitted to the judge of the district court? Hopefully you will respond to the questions and so forth that I've asked tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whitehead. Next, that'll lead us to Mr. Leo.
Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to speak to this group. My name's Al Leo. I live on 19293 Silver Ranch Road in Conifer. Would like to thank the fire district for the excellent communication around unification, the excellent communication around the exclusion-inclusion letter that has recently been sent out. I think the fire district is doing a great job of informing the public of what they're doing. Also like to congratulate the chiefs for doing a great job of responding to public input and crafting a plan that provides better service at a lower mill levy. You know, from what I see from the information, the chiefs have nailed it. There's no mill levy increase. Elk Creek Station number 1, the building we're standing in, continues to be staffed with fire and EMS at current levels. The new staff is 6 versus 18. They'll be located in Inner Canyon Station 1. So I think these are all great moves by the chiefs, and I applaud that. And I urge this board to vote yes on any votes that are relative to unification. The next thing I'd like to point out is Mr. Director Newby has filed an Appendix A that he read his statement opposing the amendment. Section 5 is inaccurate based on the information I've seen from the fire district. All right, he's maintaining that the mill levy won't be 12 mil next year. This is a great discussion of what the mill levy is today, but that's not the point. And thus the point in this letter or statement that's appended is incorrect. You know, if I were to be able to vote on those minutes, I would append a note or redact or ask for that section 5 to be changed. And since we're having a civic lesson today, I'd like to remind the board that Director Newby and Save Elk Creek Fire were found to have violated campaign finance law by the Colorado Secretary of State. They were fined for that. And Mr. Newby likened that to less than a traffic ticket. Thank you for your time. I advise the board and urge the board to please go through a consolidation.
Okay, I get
Thank you,
to,
Mr.
No,
I
Leo.
get to
you
respond
absolutely
to
do not.
Mr. Leo.
Our next
Mr.
speaker
Leo
will be
is-
Mr.
No,
Senator
absolutely
Senator
do not.
Mr. Shine,
I
you
get to
have an
respond.
opportunity
do not.
to speak.
I get to respond.
No, you do not.
I get to
There's-
respond.
This is public comment, Director Newby.
Yes,
There is
but I
no
get to
interaction.
respond. Yes, I do.
No, you
I
don't.
have-
Mr. Shine, please.
Mr. Leo is absolutely wrong.
I have a letter
He's
here that's
absolutely wrong, period.
to the citizens of Elk Creek, Intercanyon and North Fork Fire Protection Districts. Greetings. We who have signed below are the men and women who devotedly provide emergency services to your fire protection districts. We represent 100% of the 59 respondents to a formal survey of our collective districts' professional firefighting and EMS personnel, both paid and volunteer. 45 of these from Elk Creek Fire, and 669 years of actual emergency response experience, 478 of these from Elk Creek Fire. It is our professional belief that unifying our three districts, as proposed by our respective fire chiefs, is in the best interest of every person residing in each of our districts. The current arrangement of separate districts is not working well for this community, with growing call numbers, severity and overlap, as well as increased mutual aid needs. We are constantly within one call of catastrophe in our service to our districts. For these and other operational reasons, we believe that we would be much more effective in this community's care and safety as a single unified fire protection district. If you want more timely, more fully staffed emergency response, we urge you to support what volunteer and career staff alike endorse, that is unification of our three districts. We encourage and request that you encourage your district's directors to vote yes to unify our three districts and to support this fundamental change in how we work together. Unification will allow us to be more effective and efficient in providing our community the better level of emergency services that is necessary as this community evolves. Please help us to help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shine. Our final public comment will be Mr. Koch. He's online. Chief, can we?
I'm here, or can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for this opportunity to address the board again. I want to echo what Captain Shine just mentioned about support of the unification effort from the rank and file. This is not simply a chief's idea. It is a shared idea, broadly shared by all of those of us who have experience in the field. I also want to point out that last November's election at face value was about consolidation, which is not the same as unification. And as such, it is not a referendum on whether or not departments should ever combine under any circumstances at any time, but rather whether they should do so by the mechanics of consolidation. If anything was rejected by the voters, and by a very narrow margin of 45 votes in Elk Creek alone, that's what was rejected. So I urge this board, all of its members, to please vote, take all the votes necessary to bring unification to fruition for our district, and I urge the other two boards at North Fork and Intercanyon to do the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Koch. That is the end of public comment, which leads us to our seventh item. That's the review of the September 2024 regular meeting minutes. I will say that I would ask and entertain a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes without the appendix. I believe that there is a need for us to stick to the information that was presented to the board and not additional information.
So I'm making a motion to not accept the minutes as written. The only way I will accept the minutes is if Director Newby's tirade is taken out of the minutes. Those are not minutes, those are his opinions.
So if I hear the motion correctly, what you're asking, I would ask as Board President for you to rephrase the motion that you would accept the meeting minutes from September without the appendix.
I will accept, I am making a motion to accept the meeting minutes from the September board meeting without the addendum.
Okay, there is a motion. Is there a second on the motion?
I'll second it so we can.
All right, that leads us to discussion.
Yeah, discussion here. What I have written and what I presented last time and what our secretary accepted as an appendix is contrary to what Mr. Leo has to say, absolutely correct. And I have additional in my report later on tonight. I will present additional evidence to the fact that, that my statement 5 is correct. The resolution that we considered last time states that the mill levy will, were we to consolidate or unify, that our mill rate would go to 12. That is absolutely incorrect. And so what I have stated here is correct, despite what Mr. Leo said and what Mr. Shine and Mr. Flip said. So I think we should tell the truth here, tell the public the truth, publish with our minutes my statement of opposition, because it's absolutely accurate. And in fact, it's a little bit on the incomplete side, as I will present evidence tonight, that there is no way that we can even so-called unify lawfully. The Constitution, Colorado State Constitution, will not allow it.
Anything else, Director Newby?
For now, that's it.
Okay, discussion on the motion.
I have a comment. I am willing to accept the minutes with Director Newby's Appendix A, his statement of opposition, because we've done that in the past. What I am not willing to accept is Exhibits A through E. Those were not presented to anybody other than the board members. He did read his statement of opposition at the meeting, which is why I'm okay with it being included. We've allowed that in the past. Those exhibits were not presented to anybody at the meeting other than board members, which I feel violates the whole purpose of the minutes. I recognize that you have your information in there and that it is, in your opinion, I recognize where all of these are coming from. And yes, they are germane to the conversation, but they were not presented at the meeting itself, and I do not feel that they should be included. That's like adding a survey result after it's already been closed.
So am I hearing that you're asking for an amendment to the
Yes.
motion made by Director Woods? Director Woods,
Can I answer that? Can I answer that? Can I discuss that before we move on to an amendment? More discussion on the motion?
Well, there was an
Let me-
amendment made.
just-
We're going
just
to
a minute,
address the
just a
amendment
minute,
first.
let me speak.
Director Newby,
Let
you're
me
going to
speak.
direct.
I have the right to speak.
You have the
I
right
have
to
the
speak
right
on
to
the
speak.
motion. We have an
I have
amendment
the right
made.
to speak. Let me
Director
address.
Woods, there is an
let me
amendment
address
made to your
Dominic's-
I
motion.
hear the amendment. that-
No, these were referenced in my
Director
discussion.
Newby,
These were referenced.
They weren't presented.
Yes,
Chuck.
they were presented
They
in the
weren't presented.
footnote.
Director Newby,
They
there
were
is
presented
an
in
amendment
the
made to the
footnote.
motion. As a part of
They
procedure,
were
we have
presented
to
in the
address the
footnote.
amendment.
Robert's rules.
No,
Be quiet.
I have a right
Go
to
ahead.
speak. That's what Robert's
I
rules
Would you
say.
accept the amendment to the motion?
No, I do not accept the amendment to
Okay.
the motion, because I still believe that the amendment that Director Newby is saying should be in the minutes are not minutes, but his opinion. His opinion is welcome. He's welcome to spread his opinion far and wide, but he's not, as far as I'm concerned, welcome to put his opinion in the minutes. The minutes are my motion is to exclude altogether his amendment A and whatever goes with it to the minutes. And so I'm keeping with that motion.
As a part of parliamentary procedure, I'm going to refer to our council real quick. In terms of a motion being made, then amendment to the motion, the motion maker did not approve the amendment. Is there need to continue, or do we have to vote? Is there, clarify the process on the amendment, please.
At this point, you still have an open motion, there was no amendment to
Okay,
the
so
motion.
the motion maker did not approve the amendment, so we are back to discussion on the motion, now you have an opportunity to speak.
Well, thank you very much, Greg. I really appreciate your parliamentary procedure.
I'm trying to do the right thing,
No,
Director
no,
Newby.
No, but it's clear that you're not. You never have been.
Focus
you
on
never-
the task, Chuck.
So the point is, that Dominic, in answer to your objection, which I take under advisement, actually,
I recognize they
these
were
guys here
footnoted.
were referenced
Let him
in my presentation, in my discussion. And that's why I think they are germane. And I would say that they are factual, they are truthful, they elaborate on and add to what I said orally in the discussion. So I see no harm and would argue that they be included.
All right, discussion on the motion. Parliamentarily,
I have one more point to make, and that is that
in favor of the motion.
in favor of my motion, yes, in favor of my motion, and that is those do not belong. They are not minutes. The minutes are as Secretary Baker took the minutes. She did not take those minutes. We heard his opposition, and we noted his opposition, and I would encourage that we change the minutes to say that Director Newby spoke in opposition, and that's what he did.
Any other, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That would be my suggestion for the minutes.
So you would amend the minutes to read Director Newby spoke in opposition rather than Director Newby presented a statement of opposition.
Correct. That's what I would suggest. So my motion, and the caveat on my motion is to exclude Director Newby's comments, which are his opinion, and change the minutes to include that he spoke in opposition or noted opposition, however you would like to word that. I'm good.
Well, you're the motion maker. You are going to have to create the motion.
Okay, my
And
motion
in
is,
light of what you're trying to infuse now, I would recommend that you rescind your motion.
okay,
You good with that?
Yes.
Second?
That's the second.
And then restate your motion, and we'll go back into discussion again.
okay, then I will rescind my motion, and I think I heard that it was seconded. All right, so my motion should be that the minutes should not include the appendix that Director Newby wrote and wanted included, but that the minutes themselves should be revised to say that Director Newby spoke in opposition.
Secretary? Secretary Baker, I want to make sure that you're comfortable with that this new motion. And if you would, read it back to us so that we can ensure that we have it appropriate, and then we can get a second.
So what I have is that the Treasurer Woods rescinded the motion that the minutes should not include the appendix that Director Newby spoke, that the statement of opposition, but rather spoke in opposition of the,
Clarify for her,
yeah,
please.
Spoke in opposition.
yeah, spoke in opposition.
That's what I would say.
For me, one more time, just read it back so that we're all on the same page.
There was a discussion on the motion. Treasurer Woods rescinded the motion that the minutes should not include the appendix that Director Newby.
Just a new motion, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, just if you want to read the new motion.
Treasurer Woods, let me rewrite it first. Rescinded the motion and made a new motion that the meeting minutes should not include Director Newby's appendix, but rather should state that Director Newby spoke in opposition.
Are you comfortable with the way? All right, is there a second on the motion?
Second.
All right, discussion on this new motion.
Mr. Camille, can you weigh in on this, please?
I mean, I think that we've discussed this before as far
We have.
as the substance of the minutes. You know, generally speaking, the minutes are a reflection of the actions taken. I think in that sense, it's up to the discretion of the board as to what is appended to the minutes. So I think in this context, it's an accurate representation. The minutes reflect that he spoke in opposition. So I think, again, up to the board as to whether to accept any appendices on the minutes themselves, but the minutes should reflect the primary action items of the meeting itself.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, do we have a second on motion? Did you?
Yeah, I seconded it.
You've got a point of information, discussion on the motion?
Yes, discussion on the motion. So this is your Elk Creek Board of Directors silencing me, subverting, stifling my right to speak. And all the Roberts rules and all the discussion from council will not obviate that. So I claim that by appending my statement to the minutes is the only way that this director is allowed by his fellow directors to speak to our constituents. Because every time I have attempted to get information that is contrary to the propaganda that is being propagated out there using taxpayer money through Elk Creek FPD's communication channels, I've been stifled. And Robert's Rules does not allow that. And state law does not allow that. And our state constitution and federal constitutions don't allow that. But yet, you all, with Mr. Camille, are conspiring to stifle, to take away my rights to speak to our constituents. That's what you have done in the past, and that's what you are doing tonight. And you may try to put some gloss on it. You may try to put lipstick on that pig, but it's still a pig.
May I speak now?
Are you done?
Are we done?
For now.
On the
What
motion?
I'm going, this is on the motion, because what I stated on the motion is that he spoke in opposition, which he did, at length. So we have heard Director Newby, we have heard his statement of opposition, but we do not have to put his statement of opposition in the minutes, because they are not the minutes.
You have not
The
heard.
minutes say, are you done? I'm still speaking.
Director Newby, please let Director
I'm
Woods finish.
still
I'm
speaking.
talking to Ms. Woods. You have not heard yet.
Director Newby, please let
Let me
Director Woods
finish,
finish.
please.
Please do.
Please be quiet so that I can.
All right, can we please be a little more professional?
No, this
I
whole
see
thing,
that,
this
but
whole meeting,
this,
Greg, is a sham, and it's based
Director
on
Newby,
lies.
please let Director Woods speak, just as she let you
I'm
speak.
speaking to you. Are you listening?
I'm listening to Director Woods because she has the floor.
I will just repeat what I said, and that is, Director Newby has accused us of stifling him. We have not stifled him. He spoke at length in the September board meeting about his opposition. It is on the record that he spoke about the opposition. All you have to do is listen to the recording. But what we do not have to do is include his Appendix A in the minutes, because they are not minutes. They are his opinion in opposition of unification. I'm done.
Okay, any
I
other
have
further
additional
discussion?
comments. And to Ms. Woods, the appendix is, again, very, very appropriate because it's the only avenue, the only channel through which you four will let me speak to our collective constituents. It's the only way I can get my opposition into any fragment of the public record regarding what you folks are doing here. Behind the public's back, behind your constituents' back, unlawfully doing so. And so you are stifling me. And you know you're stifling me. You are doing that on purpose. So, you know, if Mr. Leo can cast aspersions on me and I have no right to defend myself in a public meeting, then I beg my fellow directors to give me this small channel of communication so that I may communicate with our public.
Are you done?
For now, I'm
Because
done.
I'm going to say one more thing and then I am done, and I would suggest we take a vote on the motion, because it's been made and seconded. We have heard you, Director Newby. We hear you loud and clear. The public hears you loud and clear. You publish your stuff on your websites. You publish it on Save Elk Creek. You publish it on COSAC. So your word gets out to your constituents. Make no mistake that your word gets out to the constituents. It's in public now. The public hears you. We heard you at the last meeting. We hear you at this meeting. And I suggest we take a vote on the motion.
I call the question.
Yeah,
Question's
one more
been called.
discussion. Calling
Would
the
you like
question
to
does
read
not
the
stop
motion?
this.
Yes, it actually
No, it
does.
doesn't.
The question's
No, it
been
absolutely
called.
does not. I have more discussion on the
Treasurer
motion.
Woods made a motion to
I
amend the
need to
minutes to say
answer
that
Ms.
Director
Woods.
Newby spoke in opposition. The motion was seconded by Vice President Dominic.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against?
No,
You're not against? Or you are against?
I am against
Okay,
Ms.
against,
Woods' motion.
abstentions? All right, that motion carries. Okay, well, lead us into financial matters, our 8th item on the agenda.
Scotty, ready? Scotty, are you ready? Oh, yay. I can't see behind me. I used to be able to when I had kids. I could see behind me, but not anymore. It's done. It's been done for a long time. Okay, today is, I think, hang on a second. I need to look at what I've got to look at. Okay, today is October 24th. This is the meeting. Second slide is, we've changed things up a little bit in terms of how we report. There was some discussion, I believe, after the meeting that we alarmed people that we actually had an over budget situation in, wages. So I think that the better way to look at this is not to look at sections of the income statement by themselves. The better way to look at it is to look at the expenses in total. Because if we look at the expenses in total, we are at about 66% of the revenue. So we are in a situation of being in a good income earning situation. Our actual year-to-date income as of September was $1,522,664. So we are definitely in the black in terms of where we are from an income statement. If we look at revenue, property tax is greater than 66%. of our revenue, it's actually 77% of that number. And we'll look at property taxes a little more detail later. Property taxes are way over budget. They are more than we expected this year, which is good news. Expenses are overall at about 77% of forecast, with 75% for the year. So we are in line with expenses in terms of what they look like. Next slide. So what I did was bring in, to that same slide, I bring in forecast for net income and net income for the whole year. So the forecast for net income in September, year to date, was $1,712,000. We came in at $1,523,000. So we are close to what we forecasted. We are still looking good in terms of coming up with an income statement that is in the black. Next slide. Okay, it looks like it's blank. Nice. Okay. So if we look at revenue and expenses without SURF, because one of the things that I think we need to remember about SURF expenses is we are reimbursed for SURF expenses. So considering revenue without SURF revenue and considering expenses without SURF expenses gives us a true picture of where we are. Because again, we are reimbursed for SURF. So total expenses at this point, if you exclude SURF, for which we will be reimbursed, are at 66%. So again, we are very much within reason of where we expected to be. Next slide. Okay, property tax. I said that we were over budget in terms of property tax received. So we came in at $4,924,457. Our budget year-to-date in September was $4,476,476. We have a total year budget of $4,535,365. So we are actually, in September, which is 75% through the year, we are actually already over the year-to-date budget. So we will make our year-to-date budget for revenue plus some. Next slide. So let's talk about SURF, because I keep excluding it from what we're looking at in terms of expenses. As of the end of September, we have submitted to the state $1,544,973 of expenses for SURF. We will get 100% of what we submit to the state. It's always happened that way, and it will continue to happen that way. Our staff puts invoices together for the state meticulously, and we have never been denied, except for $7,000 in 2023 of any money that we have submitted to the state. So let's look at the next slide. And you notice that what we submitted is in excess of SURF expenses. So we've submitted the $1,544,000. We haven't yet been paid for $1,242,960. Now that's a big number, but at this point in September, we have 48 fires that we have worked out of district. Those 48 fires compare with last year 43 fires. So we are fighting more fires and bigger fires in 2024 than we fought in 2023. The reason for the delay in payments is because there are fires all over Colorado, all over the country for that matter. And you have to understand that the state employees have to review every one of the invoices that we send in and approve those invoices before they will submit payment. So they're a little behind. At this point, there's also about $64,000 not in that number that was recorded the first part of October. So we are now at $1,609,000 in terms of what we've submitted to the state. And we will get 100% of that money back. That will be income that gets recorded to the bottom line because that is cash. Government, you You don't get to recognize revenue until you actually get the money in your hand. So we will get $1 million, at this point, we will get $1,609 and some cents when all is said and done. So I don't want anybody to be alarmed at that big number. It will come in. Right now, we've received about $300,000, but the entire amount will come in. It may not come in when we want it to come in, but it will come in. Next slide. So, expenses for the month of September, $667,734. We make a motion to approve the expenses for September of $667,734.
Is there a second to Director Wood's motion?
Second.
Any other discussion on the motion? Discussion on the motion?
No.
Discussion. All right, hearing none. There's a motion made by Director Wood, seconded by Director Devaney, to approve the Sage Financial Ledger expenses recorded for September 24 of $667,734. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? All right, the motion carries. That leads us to Chief Ware's report.
All right. So September is usually the month that starts to slow down with wildland fires. This year has been slightly out of the ordinary, definitely different than last year. Numerous fires are still burning across the west, as well as hurricanes impacting the East Coast. Oak Creek's had firefighters still out on fire assignments, and we've also had one individual assisting with hurricane recovery in North Carolina. And with a lot of the forecast, it will probably continue probably through at least another month, if not longer. I did want to point out that we've had 2 members that are completing the Denver Health Paramedic Program. It's going to lead to 2 more ALS providers on a paid staff. So congratulations to Mr. McCauley, who's here, and we're going to make it awkward, so he has to at least do his face. Of course. As well as Firefighter Smith, he is actually just finishing up his ride. He should be done this week, which is pretty exciting. And for the first time ever, we actually have more people that are actually interested in wanting to go to Peace School, so we're going to try and capitalize on this and continue to send people to school, which will, again, provide more ALS providers. Volunteer firefighters had 192.5 hours of staffing at Station 1 in the month. Still averaging 3 members per call. 10% of the calls overlapped. Average response time was a little under 11:14. Calls, nothing really out of the ordinary. Everything was pretty standard. Mutual aid, we actually provided more mutual aid than we gave during the month. Transports, about the same, down a little bit, but nothing extraordinary. We had 89 hours of training, fire prevention, 9 inspections, 15 letters, county referrals, and insurance requests. It is pretty exciting because Fire Marshal Rush currently, right now as we speak, is in Long Beach, and she's working on the Woolley Fire Code Development Committee, which is a national committee. So it's pretty cool that Elk Creek has a seat at the table for that operation, and they're working on the 2027 versions of the codes. Facilities are extremely antiquated buildings, had a couple hiccups. Station 2, we had what started as a small roof leak, led to a larger roof leak, led to several other complications. And then we got our pump testing completed. We have 1 needing minor repairs, everything else passed. And that is all I have.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
The reason, I'm looking at your numbers and I don't have last month's numbers handy, but I don't think we had as many calls over last month.
Correct. Yeah, we were down. Yeah, it was 9 calls, only 10% overlap.
That's what I thought. So we definitely need to figure out how to get more support, and I think that was why the board voted for unification.
Okay.
Any questions for the chief? Any other questions or comments, Chief Ware?
No. Thank you.
Okay, that leads us to old business. I don't remember any old business. Do you, Melissa? I think we're good. So that we can lead right into new business. And the first thing will be the review of the proposed 2025 budget. And Chief, you had a couple of comments on that?
Yeah, real quick. Obviously, thank you. Real quick, so this is the preliminary budget. We don't have any of the final numbers right now, so this is that first pass. A couple of high points based on the preliminary numbers. We are going to have a little increase from Jefferson County. It'll be up about $40,000 from Jefferson County. Park County is down by $700. So for all intents and purposes, it will be relatively flat. We did add more.
Is that tax revenue too?
Yes, sir, the two top lines.
Yeah.
Just compared to last year's
Yeah.
is where we're at. We also added a little more to the SERP reimbursement. That's usually our moving target. We try and base that off the current year. And again, it's a moving target, so we're up. So this year, our budget will be 7,163,592 on the revenue side. Now, of course, that can change. There are some legislative actions, et cetera, but that is the rough first pass. We're still waiting on a number of numbers from a number of numbers. Well, I said that, I apologize. Insurance, we just sat down with our insurance agent earlier this week. She said we should go over a lot of our numbers again. The cost for building new fire stations has increased. Up until 3 years ago, all of our insurance values were set at current market value, or with an antiquated fleet and buildings from the 70s and 80s. That is not ideal. So we kind of upped everything, and we've been having to go back almost every year to up more, with engines being, $1.1, $1.2 million now. And the cost of firehouses, the insurance lady said right now is between $600 and $800 a square foot, which is mind-boggling to me. So we had to go through and edit most of our numbers from last year, which of course is going to affect our rates. They're going to go up, but they go up every year.
Well, and they were predicting a 20% increase anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's normal. So it was kind of shot in the dark. We don't have our numbers yet. Everything's due on November 1st. Once we get that, we should have, by the time the final budget comes out for November, we'll have all that. It should be more fun.
Have they done an insurance audit, a CBIZ audit on Elk Creek?
Yes, we did
They
that.
came out and, how long ago? Oh, so it just happened this year?
Yeah, it was recent.
Okay.
Yeah, our insurance was, so again, like I said, we didn't, up until 3 years ago, we didn't do a lot with our insurance. We didn't have a lot updated, if you will. Again, everything was on market value. And so we had to, there was quite a bit of work that
That CBIZ report will change a lot too.
Yeah,
You haven't gotten results back on that yet, have you?
That was the, we did, and there were some things we disagreed on because they suggested lowering some of our values for the stations. And that's what brought in the discussion with our insurance agent. She actually said that she does not recommend that. And a lot of them this year, through whatever algorithm they're using, they were lowering some of the numbers.
Yeah.
But that didn't reflect the replacement cost of anything. So we kind of went back and forth. We got it finalized and we set it off 2 days ago, 3 days ago.
Okay, and you guys use T. Charles Wilson, right, or High Street now?
Yeah, it's.
As a broker for
yeah.
CSU pool?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we should have that back, I don't know, the 1st was the due date we got to send in, so we should have the final stuff here next, hopefully, week or two. Other than that, insurance benefits, all that stuff's going to go up. Everything else is relatively standard, no real outliers. The only capital for next year will have the monies due for the ambulances, so that'll be a big capital chunk. Other than that,
Who do you guys use benefits through?
health insurance, we do the public services pool.
The CEBT?
Yes. Right, the CVT? I don't know that acronym. I know the logo. We just have the benefit package, we just got it.
I'd be curious, so CEBT is the CSU Pools Insurance Group. It's that Colorado Employer Benefits by Trust. T. Charles Wilson, I know, they partnered with High Street and they have been coming back in with some significant reductions in benefits. I know it is late in the game.
No, we don't use CBT.
You don't use CEBT.
I can see the logo right
We use a different broker.
Okay. Given how late it is in the game, obviously I'm not recommending any changes, but looking at 2026 6, it might be worth having a conversation early with both CBT to see where they're
Well,
coming in.
so this year we did look at both.
Okay,
We had a side-by-side comparison,
oh, good,
yeah, and we chose not to go with them.
understandable, their rates this year were a little ridiculous. That's why I would recommend maybe talking to your T. Charles Wilson broker, High Street broker.
Yeah.
Because they have been, I've been seeing really good numbers come back from them. So, just something to consider.
Yeah, health insurance is a challenge.
It's a beast,
It's,
yeah.
yeah.
That's about 2/3 of this administrative budget, isn't it? I'm kidding.
Well, we'll see.
Not
No, hopefully when the
really.
numbers come back, it's not gonna be anything. It could be nothing. Low probability.
Low probability.
It is a good chunk of that budget, yes.
So I have some comments. I took a look at your 2025 budget versus the 2024 because you based your 2025 budget on 2024 budget, which we know has some holes in it, shall we say?
Yes.
Okay, so that's one problem I see.
Again, this is a preliminary budget.
I understand. So what I'm going to say is that I will make a motion to approve the preliminary budget with a caveat. that-
We don't,
There's
we
no
don't,
budget.
we have to,
Okay,
no.
then what I'm going to say is that going forward, Chief Ware, and I have asked for this before, I'm going to ask for it in public now.
Okay.
I want to be involved in the budget from the beginning, not after you publish it.
And you made that clear in our meeting, and you said you would.
Okay?
So now it's in public, and yes, you
It's in
will.
public.
Okay.
When is the budget hearing scheduled for? When have you posted it for?
It's gonna be that November meeting, November 21st, I believe.
21st. Yeah.
Okay, 21st.
I would ask that before the budget hearing, so this is awesome, I love this, and I know the intent was to meet the deadline, which is
Correct.
great. But I have no idea what this looks like against last year's numbers. So when you guys send it out, can you include the actual?
Or do you want a side-by-side?
Usually we do the side-by-side, the lines.
Yeah, I would like to see the side-by-side,
Yeah.
the 2023 actuals, the 2024 estimated, 2024
Yeah.
budget,
Of course.
like that big thing.
Yeah, the big
So,
column on the right, the three columns.
Totally appreciate
Yeah.
this, I would just like to visually, and if maybe I could get, like, all of us could get that separate from the board packet, so we can,
That's fine. And the goal is as soon as we get the, hopefully at least benefits numbers, we'll be able to put that
Yeah,
together. Because
and I
that's
know
the big
that
thing we're
those-
working on.
yeah, I know that some of that is fluid, but
Yeah.
I just wanted, like, it helps.
Of course.
Because I don't know, this could be good, this could be bad, we could be in a hole, looks like we're gonna have $5,000 at the end, like, just give me something to,
Of course.
but thank you for meeting the deadline.
Any other questions about the proposed 2025 budget?
Nope.
Any other questions? Any other questions? All right. Well, that'll lead us to the executive session, and I would ask that everybody participating, if you would, be so kind as to exit.
I motion, yeah,
But I want to give
Okay.
instruction first.
sorry.
When we go into an executive session, we're going to meet privately. So when we go into executive session, if everybody would just vacate, maybe stay in the front foyer there for a little bit if it's chilly outside. Once we complete our executive session, we will reconvene and go into the last portion of our agenda. And now,
I move that we go into executive session.
is there a second?
Second the motion.
Okay, for the record, Everett?
You just make that motion to reflect.
Recording in progress.
Perfect. We're going to call the meeting back to order at 7:43 PM. Coming out of the executive session, there is only one action item, and that will be addressed by Director Devaney. Director Devaney?
So part of the discussion, we realized that there's been substantive questions about not only the unification, but the hearing process as a whole. So in order to fully address these, there will be a report posted to the website by November 1st, addressing all of the questions that have come in.
Thank you, Director Devaney. That leads us to our third item in new business. That's a director's report. I believe that is Director Newby.
Yes, give me just a moment here. I have a statement. And so my statement, brief statement here reads as follows. In my report entitled Fact-Checking Elk Creek, Inter Canyon, and North Fork Fire Protection District's Recent Consolidation Effort Communications dated October 24, 2024, I report on just a few of the inaccuracies that are contained in recent Elk Creek FPD communications regarding efforts towards fire district consolidation. I have asked that this report be made widely available to the public via our website, as well as our Facebook and Nextdoor platform channels. But this evening, I will focus only on the legal notice for consolidation appearing in the Canyon Courier, in order to point out just a few inaccuracies. I will take the following two statements contained in the legal notice. The statement is, the mill levy assessed by North Fork against all property within its boundaries, exclusive of any mill levy for refunds and abatements, is currently 12.0 mills. The mill levy assessed by Elk Creek against all property within its boundaries, exclusive of any mill levy for refunds and abatements, is currently 12.5 mills. If the property is excluded from Elk Creek and included within North Fork, the mill levy will be reduced by 0.500 mills, exclusive of refunds and abatements. These two sentences make a construction that is inaccurate. Checking those two sentences, the first sentence, these two statements are inaccurate for the following reasons. The North Fork FPD has been authorized by a vote of its electors to adjust its mill levy so that it may offset reductions in its revenue, such that that authorization allows North Fork a current certified mill levy rate of 12.8960. And see within this document, North Fork mill levy resolution for the 2024 budget transmittal attached herein as Exhibit A. The second reason is that in section 7.7 of the First Amendment to the pre-consolidation IGA, that document explicitly states, quote, Inter Canyon and Elk Creek shall certify for collection ad valorem property taxes within the respective boundaries for tax year 2024 for collection in 2025 at the same mill levy rate as certified in the prior year. This means that mill levies for Elk Creek and Inter Canyon FPDs will remain at 2024 levels. And again, see within my document here, Exhibit B. Basically this documents these facts. I request that this statement be included in the minutes as an appendix. So,
All right, that's the last item of new business.
No, no,
I accept the
we're not-
motion to
We're not
adjourn.
done yet. I want to give each of you a copy so you have it. And again, I request that, that my prior report, which you have received by email a couple of days ago, again, is transmitted out to our constituents so they have the truth rather than the the entirely false construction that has gone out on our public media channels to date.
Okay, thank you, Director Newby. That's the last item of new business. I accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries.